So every once in a while there comes a time when the gulags of Call of Duty, the sweaty goals of FIFA, and the "you died" screen of Elden Ring get a little too overwhelming, and it's at these moments when it's best to take a little break and recharge yourself. But as gamers, we can't be expected to go for a walk, physically mow the lawn, or dare I even say it, read a book. No. Times like these call for a different type of game, one free from stress, death and despair, and so today we're bringing you a big old list of games which definitely fit the bill. My name's Luke, this is XboxCorner, and today we're taking a look at the top 16 chillout titles available to play right now on Game Pass. So first up on our list we have the city building sim Before We Leave, and there are a number of different city building sims available on Game Pass, but we felt that this one was the most casual one. Now, as with other 4X strategy style games, Before We Leave sees you collecting and managing resources, researching technologies, and building settlements for your little band of peeps, which have just emerged from generations spent living underground. The aim of this one though is to keep them happy by keeping them well fed, providing them with shelter, and making sure things like pollution don't get out of hand. And the game uses an interesting hexagon based building system, giving it a unique appearance. Unlike some other similar titles, there's also no combat in Before We Leave, so nothing to get too stressed over in that regard, and the end goal of the game is to actually venture throughout the solar system and populate other planets, which is another unique and interesting mechanic. Next up on our list we have Donut County, a wonderful little story-driven puzzle game where as a trash-stealing raccoon you're given control of a hole in the ground and have to gobble up anything and everything you can get your hands on. Taking influence from the Katamari games, with every consumed item the size of your hole will grow, allowing you to steal bigger and better prizes, and the objective is to simply devour everything in the level, though this sometimes involves a little bit of puzzle solving, with your trash catapult proving particularly useful for obtaining those hard to reach items. The game also has some other interesting mechanics, like the ability to combine some of the items that you've devoured, which result in a number of interesting and often surprising effects. And to complement its gameplay, there's also an enjoyable little story to play along to. All in all though, very casual and very fun. Exo One is the name of our next game, and this one kind of takes influence from the likes of Journey, offering a similar kind of meditative zen-like exploration approach to its gameplay. But the game also has a unique control scheme for you to master, whereby the ship that you're piloting transforms between ball form, rolling down hills and gathering energy, and glide form, which uses up this energy, allowing you to effortlessly soar through the skies. The objective in this one though, travel from planet to planet, tracking down messages and images which direct you towards an undetermined ending. But this one really is all about the journey, and there are some phenomenal sights to see along the way, with each unique planet bringing its own unique visuals and challenges. If you want to know more about this one though, Alex reviewed the game a while back now on the channel, and I'll leave a link to that review in the description box below. So one of my all-time favourites next, and what top chill-out list would be complete without at least one walking simulator, and what a walking simulator it is. In Firewatch, you play as a man named Henry, who, wanting to get away from his chaotic home life, retreats to the Wyoming wilderness to become a Firewatch. Perched atop his fire lookout tower, Henry's only form of contact with the outside world comes via a two-way radio, with which he quickly forms a relationship with Supervisor Delilah. But when strange happenings require you to venture out into the wilderness, your connection with Delilah comes under threat, and the choices that you make shape the narrative, making for a truly unique and memorable gameplay experience. If you've never played a walking simulator, they're amongst the most chill games on the market, and I implore you to play Firewatch followed quickly by What Remains of Edith Finch, as both games are phenomenal and ones which you won't forget easily. So one for all you puzzle game fans next with Gorogoa, a beautifully illustrated puzzle title which is all about manipulating the on-screen tiles, rearranging and interacting with them to combine their images and solve puzzles. Feeling somewhat like an interactive art piece, Gorogoa follows the journey of a young boy seeking an encounter with a divine monster, and by solving the game's puzzles, you'll guide him through the changing landscape and get to witness periods of peace, war and rebuilding as the boy slowly grows older and reflects on his past. A truly unique puzzle experience this one though, and one which won't overtax your brain. Up next then we have Lake, and this is one which flew relatively under the radar until it hit Game Pass at the end of last year. Another one which Alex reviewed though, Lake sees you playing as Meredith Weiss, a successful businesswoman who, much like Henry in Firewatch, seeks a break from her hectic lifestyle and decides to return to her hometown of Providence Oaks. While there, she stands in for her old man as the local postie, delivering packages and mail to the town's residents. And the theme with this one is one of reconnecting with the past, revisiting old friends, and basically just getting away from it all and experiencing what life is like in a slow time rural landscape. Definitely one to play though if you yourself are looking for a break. So the first of a couple of sim games on our list then is Lawn Mowing Sim, and if you've ever mowed a lawn in real life, you'll know what a surprisingly zen-like experience it can be. That is of course unless you've got a ginormous garden and haven't cut the grass for 6 months. Luckily in Lawn Mowing Sim though, this isn't the case, and while some of the gardens are a little on the large side, with a selection of ride-on mowers at your disposal you'll make light work of them, as you totter about the English countryside, tending to a variety of landscapes, and earning cash to pay for upgrades and expand your business. This one though is one that you can definitely zone out to, with your only real worry being the beds of roses which stand in the way of your mower, and ensuring that you trim enough grass to satisfy the customer. So if you're a fan of our four-legged friends, then our next game, Pupperazzi, is definitely worth a play. As a Pupperazzi or a canine photographer, your objective is simple. Take on contracts from clients requiring you to take pictures of doggos in a variety of situations, and then upload these photographs to the social media network and build your popularity. Doing so will unlock new locations to visit and new clients to take on, as well as unlocking a ton of different camera fillers and upgrades, enabling you to get real creative and snap the perfect pooch shot. There's plenty of fun to be had with this one though, and I thought the game's visual style really did a good job of capturing the dog's characters and personalities, and if you want to know more about this one, again I'll leave a link to our review on the game down in the description box below. So I did mention this game series earlier when talking about Donut County, but Katamari has long been one of my favourite casual puzzle games, and with Game Pass we get access to one of the best games in the series, with Katamari Damacy Reroll. Originally released for the PlayStation 2, this faithful remake once more sees you playing as the Prince of all Cosmos, who after his father, the King of all the Cosmos, goes on a bit of a bender and accidentally destroys the entire galaxy, must then give his old man a hand to restore all of the stars in the sky. Like other games in the series though, this one has you rolling your Katamari around a variety of stages, collecting up items with it to increase its size, which in turn allows you to pick up even larger items, with the end objective being to reach a specific size to form a new star. It's an unusual yet creative concept and very simple stuff, but honestly a joy to play, and if you enjoy a bit of Japanese wackiness, then Katamari definitely has plenty of this to offer too. Another sim for you next then, and one which was an obvious contender for most chilled out game on Game Pass, as Microsoft Flight Sim makes our list, and this is one which has traditionally been a little bit hardcore, but its port to consoles comes with a simplified control scheme which really tones things down, allowing you to just enjoy the experience. Giving you free reign of the skies across the globe, Microsoft Flight Sim allows you to hop behind the yoke of any of its 30 plus planes, from airliners and jets to prop planes and turboprops, and then take to the skies, flying along real life flight paths from airport to airport, or just going on a sightseeing tour of anywhere in the world. Now, I'm not really big into my Sims, but even I had to give this one a go on release, and I have to say that the game is seriously impressive when it comes to the level of detail on display. There are countless locations faithfully recreated in game using photographic imagery and millions of trees and buildings, and each of its aircrafts is replicated down to the most minute detail, so if you're looking for a visual treat, then you'll definitely find one here. Speaking of visual trees, next up we have Sable, and again this one is one which Alex reviewed and had a good time playing. With its uniquely stylised visuals, Sable is a rite of passage story which sets you out on a mission of self-discovery as you guide the game's protagonist Sable across the sand dunes of vast deserts and through the ruins of past civilisations as she seeks her place in life. This one though doesn't hold your hand or give you any kind of direction, and it's all about just getting out there, exploring the world and connecting with other clans and nomads, as well as solving some puzzles and searching for masks to determine your destiny. There really is plenty to discover in this one though, with a ton of different endings and collectibles to find, and if you enjoy your games full of exploration, mystery and intrigue, then Sable will no doubt be for you. Spiritfarer is our next title, and if you're looking for a good cry, then out of all the games in today's list, this one is most likely to jerk those tears. Placing the player in the shoes of a Spiritfarer, a kind of shepherd of spirits responsible for transporting them to the afterlife, the game has you building a boat to house your spirit friends, interacting with them to discover their stories, hopes and fears, and then ferrying them to the afterlife before saying your final farewells. It definitely offers an emotional rollercoaster though, this one, with plenty of laughs along the way and possibly a few tears, and throughout your journey you'll be exploring the world, mining and harvesting materials to construct and expand your floating city, and fishing, farming and cooking to provide for your passengers. And the wonderful art direction in this one really gives life to its characters and drives the emotional impact of its story. An old classic next then, giving a fresh breath of life, as Tetris Effect takes the classic tile matching puzzle game formula and enhances it with some beautiful visuals and breathtaking soundscapes which react and change each time you drop a block or score a Tetris. Taking on the game's story-like mode will see you working your way from one epic song to the next, and the gameplay is as addictive as ever with this one, with plenty of game modes for you to enjoy in both offline solo and online multiplayer. Now, Tetris Effect Connected can offer as much challenge as you like, but regardless of your preferred difficulty, Tetris is and always has been a game that you can just zone out to as you put all of your focus into stacking those blocks. But with the added audio-visual sensory experience that Tetris Effect brings, it's now easier than ever to enter into a trance-like state and simply lose yourself in its sight, sounds and tile-matching gameplay. Now, you probably saw this one coming, but Stardew Valley is the go-to game for many looking for a break, and if you've played the game then you'll understand why. Taking influence from the Harvest Moon games, Stardew Valley sees you tasked with revitalising a farm left to you by your late grandpa on the outskirts of the sleepy Stardew Valley. But the game is much more than just tending to your crops and harvesting the bounty, as you introduce yourself into the town's community, get to know each of its unique residents, and partake in events across all 4 seasons, building relationships and completing odd jobs. There's a hell of a lot of depth to this one though, with you slowly being introduced to new locations and activities including mining, fishing and raising livestock, and while there is an element of combat in the game, its simple Zelda-like format is easy enough to pick up. A great game though this one, and well worth a play. So into our last two games then, and next up we have Townscaper, a game which isn't so much a game and more an experimental art experience, but one in which you can lose yourself for hours. With no real goal in mind, the game gives you a simple colour palette and lets you go to town, literally, placing individual blocks into the world to form houses, towns and eventually whole cities, with the game's underlying algorithm doing all the heavy lifting for you. Depending on the format and order in which you place your blocks, the game will automatically transform them into walkways, arches, bridges and gardens, and connect quaint little houses and towering watchtowers together to form picturesque townscapes. And Townscaper is just a delightfully zen-like experience, if there ever was one, which requires very little effort from the player beyond their creativity. The final game on today's list then is Unpacking, where you quite literally get to unpack boxes and place items into various rooms. This one though is nowhere near as stressful as a real life house move though, and its gameplay tells a story without words as you follow a young girl's journey from house to house, observing through the items that you unpack how she grows from being a child into an adult, and the items which once seemed so important to her get left behind. Now the minor puzzle elements in Unpacking have you popping clothes into drawers and wardrobes, neatly stacking books onto shelves and placing items into their appropriate rooms, though there is no strict format for you to adhere to, allowing you to, for the most part, place items where you like. The heart of this one though is definitely something that we can all relate to as time goes by and we grow up and change, and it definitely makes for a super relaxing gameplay experience with a little touch of nostalgia for good measure. And so we come to the end of our list, and there's some epic titles in there if I do say so myself, but which of these have you played and which of them will you now be playing and unwinding with? Let us know down in the comments section below. Don't forget that we've also put together lists of the best horror, FPS, survival and co-op titles on Game Pass, so be sure to check those videos out if you're looking for suggestions in those genres of games, and be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for weekly deals, reviews and Game Pass roundups, as well as graphical comparisons and lists just like this. For now though, I hope you have a wonderfully chilled day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks everyone, take care.